Hello, I'm Eric Roby.
And I'm Kristin Lagana. Welcome to Anne Arundel County Week in Review. Today we'll tell you about how you can shop local in Pasadena and honor not one, not two, but 3 police officers of the year. I can't wait to hear more on that story. But first, making headlines. 12 people have been confirmed dead by the meningitis outbreak linked to a steroid injection that was given across the country for joint and back pain. 5 Marylanders have reportedly been infected, and state health officials say an additional 1,500 patients may have been exposed. The Maryland cases come during a national outbreak that could affect up to 13,000 people. While health officials trace the outbreak to steroid shots, it's not clear how many are in danger. Officials don't know how many of the shots may have been contaminated with a meningitis-causing fungus tied to the outbreak. And the figure includes not only those who got the injections in the back for pain, who are most at risk, but also those who got the shots in other places like knees and the shoulders. Meningitis is an inflammation of the lining of the brain and spinal cord. A back injection would put any contaminant in more direct contact with that lining. Symptoms of meningitis have been appearing between 1 and 4 weeks after patients receive the shots. Symptoms include headache, nausea, dizziness, and fever. While some cases have been mild, other people had strokes. Symptoms have been appearing between 1 and 4 weeks after patients got the shots. Unlike the more common forms of the disease, fungal meningitis is not contagious. The 2 types of fungus linked so far to the outbreak are all around, but very rarely cause illness. Fungal meningitis is treated with high-dose antifungal medications, usually given intravenously in a hospital.
Well, last year, the Pasadena Business Association began its Shop Local program to encourage customers to shop right there in Pasadena. Shopping local supports and helps drive the economy. The PBA, Pasadena Business Association, will hold a Shop Local weekend from Friday through Monday. Every customer who makes a purchase at select merchants and shows their Shop Local key tag will be entered into a drawing worth over $1,000 in cash and merchandise, including gift cards, a fresh cut Christmas tree, a 3-month membership to the Big Vanilla, and more. The drawing will take place on October 21st. During this 4-day period, these merchants will be offering Shop Local discounts. More than 50 businesses are involved in the program. Each business should be displaying its Shop Local decal on their door. Throughout the year, businesses offer monthly specials for people who use their tags. With each purchase over $100, customers' names are entered into a quarterly drawing for prizes that include 4 $25 gift certificates to various local businesses. The winner also can designate a charity of their choice to win $200. You can sign up for the program and get a key tag on the spot at Lauer Supermarket, Ace Hardware, Angel Supermarket, Bella Napoli Restaurant, and Big Vanilla, all in Pasadena. For more details, visit the Pasadena Business Association at www.pasadenabusinessassociation.com.
Well, the 2012 presidential election is around the corner, and if you aren't registered to vote, you're running out of time. Are you registered? Of course I'm registered.
All right. Good job.
Of course I'm registered.
Thank you for registering and doing your civic duty. Why didn't you make sure you're doing civic duty? I mean, last week you did your civic duty and your Baltimore civic duty by dressing up as the Oriole bird.
So
I'm glad that you are registered to vote.
I just had my jersey on.
You were the Oriole bird.
Whatever. The deadline to register to vote or update address information for the 2012 presidential election is 9 p.m. Tuesday, October 16th, 2012. You must complete a registration process which can be done online at www.elections.state.maryland.us. Once again, that's www.elections.state.md.us. Click Voter Registration at the top of the page. Paper applications are also available at many locations, including many MVAs, post offices, public libraries, and the local election board office. Mailed paper applications must be postmarked by October 16th, 2012. You may print the paper application by visiting the above website. Voter registration is permanent in Maryland as long as the address is kept current with the local election board office. The 2012 presidential general election will be held on Tuesday, November 6, 2012. Starting Saturday, October 27th through Thursday, November 1st, you can vote in person at the Early Voting Center at the Severna Park Library, 45 McKenzie Road in Severna Park, the North County Library, 1010 Eastway, Glen Burnie, or the West County Library at 1325 Annapolis Road, Odenton. To be eligible to vote, you must be a U.S. citizen, a Maryland resident, at least 16 years old. You may register if you are 16, but you must be 18 to vote. For more information, visit www.elections.state.md.us. And rock the vote, Eric.
Rock the vote. Really important to get out there and vote this year, folks. It's important to vote every year.
Should always vote.
It's amazing how many people take this for granted.
And you can't complain when you don't vote.
That's correct, Kristin. And we know you just started voting this year because you have to be 18 years or older to vote.
You are so sweet.
So thank you for doing your civic duty, your first opportunity to vote. Folks, that ain't going to happen much more. And there's more Weekend Review to come. As we head into the break, take a look at the community calendar. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back.
Give up on sex, don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Find yours at bedsider.org.
Welcome back. On October 9th at approximately 7:30 p.m., officers from the Eastern District responded to the 2500 block of Mountain Road for a report of a robbery of a citizen that had just occurred. Joining us now is Public Information Officer Justin Mulcahy with further details on the investigation. Justin.
When officers arrived, they spoke with the 65-year-old female victim who reported that she was walking to her vehicle in the parking lot when she was approached by a male suspect who demanded her wallet. The victim indicated that the suspect was possibly armed with a weapon. The victim refused to comply with the order, resulting in the suspect forcibly grabbing the victim's purse from her arm before fleeing the scene towards East Shore Road in what was described as a small silver-colored vehicle occupied by several other individuals. Now, officers searched the area for the suspects in that vehicle, were unable to locate them. The victim sustained minor injuries during the incident and was treated and released at Baltimore Washington Medical Center, and the investigation is ongoing. Suspect in this case is described as a black male about 5 feet 6 inches tall to 5 feet 8 with a slight build, last seen wearing a dark wool hat and a beige mask or bandana. Folks, we're going to move on to our second incident. That one took place on October 7th around 4 in the afternoon. And that's when officers from the Western District responded to the 8300 block of Deerfield Circle in Severn for a citizen robbery. When officers arrived, they located a male victim who said he was reading a Kindle. That's when he was approached by two male subjects from behind. Now, one of the suspects demanded the Kindle and then pushed the victim to the ground and subsequently grabbed it. The second suspect produced a firearm when the victim tried to take that property back. The second suspect then fired one shot at the ground after pointing that firearm at the victim. Both suspects at that point fled the scene on foot to a waiting vehicle occupied by a third individual. Now, even though a second shot was heard, the victim continued to chase the suspects to the vehicle and tried again to take back his property before the suspects could close the car door. A short struggle ensued before that victim fell to the ground. The vehicle, described as an older white compact four-door, sped off, striking that victim in the lower extremity. Officers in a canine unit checked the area but could not locate the suspects. The victim from the incident was transported to Baltimore Washington Medical Center with minor injuries. The suspects from this incident are described as three black males in their late teens. One is about 5'9" to 5'10" with short curly hair, wearing a dark jacket and pants. Another one described as being 5'7" to 5'8" with close-cut hair, wearing a red quilted-style jacket. The third was reported wearing a white skull cap. Now, just as a safety reminder, folks, you certainly want to comply with the demands of armed adversaries. Your life is obviously more important than property. Be a good witness and call police whenever you're confronted by a suspect. Do not resist. You must comply, especially if they're armed, for your own safety. Now, as always, if you have any information on crimes or suspects we mentioned on the show, don't hesitate to call, email, or text your tip to Metro Crime Stoppers hotline. It's available 24 hours a day, toll-free at 1-866-7-LOCK-UP. Or you could text message MCS plus your message to crimes at 274-637. You can also visit the website at www.metrocrimestoppers.net. Now remember, phone calls, they're not recorded and callers remain anonymous. You might be eligible for a cash reward of up to $2,000. Back to you.
Thanks, Justin.
This week, the Anne Arundel County Fire Department responded to more than 1,444 calls for service. This included 1,115 emergency medical calls and 96 fire calls. 5 people were sent to area hospitals after being involved in an accident on a North County highway, and a home in South County was destroyed in a late-night fire in Lothian. Division Chief Michael Cox from the Anne Arundel County Fire Department has more information on the fire, as well as info on a crash that occurred up in Pasadena. Chief.
Thanks, Kristin. The first incident occurred just before the noon hour on Saturday, October 6, 2012, when Anne Arundel County firefighters responded to a reported motor vehicle collision on I-97 in the area of Dorsey Road. The first unit to arrive on the scene reported a 2-car accident with injuries. In all, 5 people were injured as a result of the incident. One patient, a 7-year-old male, suffered life-threatening injuries and was transported to Johns Hopkins Children's Center in Baltimore via ground ambulance. 4 other patients involved in the incident suffered minor injuries and were all transported to Baltimore Washington Medical Center in Glen Burnie for further evaluation. In a second incident, Anne Arundel County firefighters responded to a reported dwelling fire in the 5400 block of Sands Road in Lothian around 11:18 p.m. on Monday, October the 8th, 2012. The first units to arrive on the scene of this incident reported visible fire and smoke coming from throughout a 1-story single-family dwelling. Closer examination by the crews on the scene revealed that the home was vacant. In all, it took 36 firefighters about 30 minutes to bring the 1-alarm incident under control. There were no firefighter injuries during the incident, and the fire caused an estimated $50,000 in damages. The cause of the fire has not been determined. Kristin?
Thanks, Chief. Although the fire has not been ruled suspicious, county fire investigators are seeking the public's assistance with this incident. They are asking anyone who may have information or been in the area of this incident to contact the arson tips line at 410-222-TIPS. Callers can remain anonymous.
Callers can always remain anonymous. Well, when the Northern District Police Community Relations Council got together to sift through many nominees for their Police Officer of the Year awards, they couldn't pick just one. So they honored the service and dedication of 3 of their officers. Officer Caleb Jenkins was hired in 2008 and assigned to the Northern District upon graduating from the Police Academy with an associate's degree in criminal justice. In his short time with the department, he has received several letters for commendable performance, resulting from citizens and supervisors recognizing him for his excellent character and work ethic. Officer Christopher Manilanson also was assigned to the Northern District upon graduating from the Academy in 2009. He served on Platoon 1 before going to the midnight shift. He has been recognized on several occasions for his excellent policing by his supervisors. Sergeant Michael Galligan has spent his entire county career, over 22 years, assigned to patrol in the Northern District. He was promoted to sergeant in December 2009 and remained in Northern District as a supervisor. Galligan was with the U.S. Capitol Police prior to coming to Anne Arundel County. He has a bachelor's degree in criminal justice and several certifications in specialized training, including hostage negotiation. He is the first sergeant to be recognized by the council. Congratulations to all 3 officers.
Well, Eric, I don't know about you, but I am very excited to get some tips from Mary Felter's guest today.
What kind of tips?
Oh, well, Susan von Suhrke is a certified relocation and transition specialist with Timely Transitions LLC of Annapolis, and she joins Mary Felter to discuss decluttering and right-sizing your home.
That would be good for you, decluttering.
Actually, it would be interesting for me. I could probably be on Hoarders. Let's take it away, Mary.
Thank you. Today my guest is Susan von Suhrke, who is a professional organizer and a senior move manager. And I want to learn a little bit more about all your different certifications, Susan.
Well, thank you, Mary. I appreciate the invitation to be here. Yes, I'm a certified relocation transition specialist, and that's shortened to abbreviated to be called CERTS. That included a 3-day intense seminar, background check, and passing a test. And I did that in order to become a member of the National Association of Senior Move Managers. I also happen to be a member of the National Association of Professional Organizers and the treasurer for the NAPO Baltimore Regional Chapter.
So you're therefore, for your job, you also got yourself licensed and bonded, I understand. I mean, it's part of the requirement.
Licensing isn't required, but I am insured, and I do have bonding and also workman's compensation because I have a part-time employee.
Well, I understand that you've been doing these things for quite some time now, like 2007 is when you got started?
That's when I chartered my business, that's correct.
So we're going to talk today about decluttering or right-sizing your home. And you have a little bit of experience with that since you live in an under 1,000 square foot house. Tell me a little bit.
Yes, we definitely are spatially challenged. Besides a 6'2" husband, I'm 5'8", and the two dogs' weight together total somewhere around 160 pounds. We lovingly refer to them as moving roadblocks.
I understand also that your mother was very organized and your grandmother was organized.
Yes, I definitely inherited the organizing gene from them.
Well, some of your experience in this is involved being a military wife, moving 11 times, and also taking care of your grandmother's home after she passed.
That's correct. I've moved some 11 times, several of them as an Army wife, or military dependent, as they like to call us. And when it came time to close down my grandmother's house, since I was an only child and my mother and uncle had passed away, it pretty much fell to me to take care of all the repairs, bring everything up to code, find a realtor, get the house ready to sell. And actually, a lot of senior move managers come to that vocation by exactly that, taking care of moves for family and friends.
Well, I understand that you have not just taken courses, you're teaching courses. Tell us a little bit about that.
That's correct. I'm teaching not only a class on what to do with your parents' things, or parents' stuff, I believe it's phrased, at Anne Arundel Community College. That's going to come back again in the spring. And I also teach another class that is called Burning Midlife Issues, to move or not to move. And sorry about that, Shakespeare. And that goes into the choices that you have as you approach retirement, whether to decide to age in place and adapt your home to your changing needs, or to look at various retirement community options, or perhaps even moving in with an adult child.
So if you're moving into maybe a smaller place, this is when the senior move manager might come into really good help for someone.
Indeed, particularly if you've lived in a home for several decades, which many of our grandparents have done. And also, family dynamics play a very important part, and sometimes it's just simply easier to have an objective third party discussing what needs to go, what possibly they can do without. Sometimes adult children don't have the same tastes as their parents, whether it's style-wise. They just don't have the same values. And also, the parents are the parents, and the kids are always going to be their kids.
And I understand sometimes there's maybe a favorite piece of furniture that you've inherited that maybe you don't want anymore, but the family thinks it should be kept because it's a long time history behind it, or so that's really when you can be helpful.
Yes, indeed. Professional organizers often have to help people try and curb the amount of things coming into their home from other family members and from houses that are being closed down. And it's very important that you're surrounded by things that you enjoy, that you appreciate, that you love, and that you use. Not things that are important to other people, unfortunately. We call this warehousing.
Absolutely.
And often children are very guilty of that after they've gone off to college, and the parents are left with a whole bunch of stuff in their houses.
From Johnny or Jane, yes.
Johnny or Jane, yes, indeed.
And then there's also maybe you've had so much that you've accumulated the first half of your life, and now you're in the second half of your life, and so you should really look at what you have to see, does it fit what I'm doing nowadays?
That's very, very important. The right sizing aspect to all this, and downsizing, I should go back and explain, is kind of becoming a four-letter word to seniors and boomers. And actually the industry, the senior move management industry, has adopted a term from Right Size Your Life, which is a book by C.G. Ware. And right sizing is all about figuring out where you are at present and the things that pertain to your lifestyle now, your interests and hobbies, things that you're pursuing and enjoy now, not your hobbies from 20 and 30 years ago.
So if I were in my house now, I should start small with something as simple as maybe the junk drawer in your kitchen, or?
That would be perfect. Too often people bite off more than they can chew, they become discouraged, and then they bog down. If you start small and plan, really sit down and write out a plan, look at what the time aspects are. Maybe a junk drawer is only going to take you an hour to clear out, but you're still going to have time to sort through those things and decide what you want to put back and decide what you're going to do with the things that aren't going back in the drawer. So the better you can estimate the amount of time a project is going to take, the better off you are. Also, a list of supplies to have on hand. If you're tackling, say, the top 2 shelves of a bookcase, then if you haven't been near that bookcase in a while, probably some dusting and cleaning supplies will be needed as well. So anything, you have to envision what you might need to have on hand and gather those supplies up. You don't want to be running around the house trying to find Scotch tape or marking pens when you've got everything poured out onto the kitchen counter.
Well, I remember hearing from you talking about putting things in various boxes and labeling the boxes, one for save and one for maybe and one for discount and one to discharge, beg your pardon, or yes, or one to look at maybe say a year from now.
The toss can certainly be a garbage bag. If you are doing a lot of sorting things, particularly like for closets or pantries, it's helpful to have boxes or large baskets, maybe just some extra laundry baskets. Work very nicely. That's a nod to Peter Walsh. He uses them on Clean Sweep. And if you put a sign on one as to what you want to donate and put those things in there, and keep, which are the items that are going to go back into the closet, the drawer, the bookcase, whatever. And then if there are some things you can't quite make a decision about, go ahead and mark a basket undecided. But it's really best if you revisit those things and try and figure out why it's so hard for you to give them away, to let them go. If you just can't bring yourself to do it at that time, then store them in a box someplace, put them aside for the time being, but and this is important, put a note on your calendar to revisit it, that box, in 6 months or a year. And if you haven't needed anything in that box, or can even remember what's in the box, then most likely those are things that you don't necessarily need to have in your life.
I bet you've talked about this in the declutter support group that you've been meeting and having up in Pascal Senior Center, haven't you?
Yes, we address a great many different issues. I can hardly believe it, but we've been in existence now for 2 years, and going strong, I learn as much from them as they do from me, I think. We like to share success stories and obstacles. There's a lot of good strategies that people can share from their own experiences, and just knowing that other people have similar problems and that you're not the only person on this earth that can't manage to get their closet cleaned out or get control of something is very supportive.
I understand the topic on November the 5th, and the meeting starts at 9:30 and goes for 2 hours. That topic's going to be paper.
Paper management. You know, even people that are not disorganized per se still can have problems with paper. Junk mail, bills, catalogs, magazines, all of this piles up, and much less the papers that we do need to file, know where they are and be able to access them.
That's a whole other organizing topic in itself.
It is, and who knows, that may even spill over to a second session, but yes, that's November the 5th will be the next meeting. We meet the first Monday of every month, unless it's a holiday, and then usually we meet the second Monday. And it is a 2-hour class, so that begins at 9:30.
Okay, Pascal Senior Center is at 125 Dorsey Road, right off of I-97.
Very easy to access.
And anyone can come to this support group?
It's free, it's open, no reservations needed. We'll find the chair somewhere.
Well, thank you, Susan, so much for coming on the program today. And if anyone wants to contact you and get some information, the name of your company is Timely Transitions, which people can find if they Google it on the internet. They Google it,
yes.
But do you have a phone number you'd like to share?
It's 410-440-5259. And also my email address is susan@timelytransitions.org, which I like to say stands for Organized.
Well, thanks so much for coming on the program. We very much appreciate it. This is Mary Felter, Public Information Officer for Anne Arundel County Department of Aging and Disabilities for Anne Arundel County Week in Review. Back to the studio.
Thanks, Mary. I would say Susan must be very organized to live in a 950 square foot home with her husband and 2 large dogs.
Especially those large dogs. Jeez,
Yes.
950 square feet. That's
I'm just
kinda
a
small.
pack rat, Eric.
You like to keep things and
I like
save
to keep,
things.
and I like to keep them out where I can see them.
Now, what is that you like to keep? What are what do we find? Like old records or
Oh, I
8-tracks
don't think I've
and
ever
things?
tossed out a CD, even ones I don't even listen to anymore. And I
Really?
totally should, because I think you can get money for them. But
You probably can.
I
You can
haven't done that.
recycle those, can't you?
You can also recycle them
I
with
think you
Green
taught
Disc.
us on a game show that. a
Yes,
while back.
greendisc.com. You can recycle the actual disc. You can recycle the actual CD case in
Mm-hmm.
our program.
So what are some other things? You maybe keep like a pizza box that you ate 3 months ago?
No, that's
as a
different.
sentimental
That's
value
gross.
or something?
But I mean, like, there's some things I've held on to forever. And like, oh, I wore that dress in a play once. I might need it again.
Like
one
a gift
day.
from grandma when you were 10?
Yes.
You keep
yes,
that gift even
yeah.
though it was bought
birthday
at a
cards.
dollar
I think
store?
I've got birthday cards galore. And
Really?
I read them and I think it's so sweet that the person thought of me. I don't want to toss it out. I have a problem.
This is great.
Help, Susan.
This is great, Susan. We've got another client for you.
Ah.
Well, speaking of good things, the Orioles. Hey,
Ah.
you gotta be proud of your O's. You wore
So
their jersey
O's.
last week,
So
and
proud of the O's.
they make it
All
into
the
the
way.
playoffs.
Oh,
they
the way.
get past Texas. They do
Yeah.
well against New York. You can't fault them for
Yeah,
anything
I'm
there.
telling you, Wednesday night's game was a nail biter. So,
Yeah.
But I found this hilarious video from, I think it's called the Fan Cave.
You didn't find any of my videos, did you?
No, not your video.
Okay.
But there's a clip on Portlandia called, or sketch rather, called "Put a Bird on It," where the actors go around and they paint birds on things because birds are the hot thing right now.
Yeah.
So Adam Jones and Robert Andino went around New York putting birds on things, like actual
gosh.
Oriole decals on all things, like a New York bus,
Really?
a New York hot dog vendor.
Wow.
It's hilarious.
That is
hilarious.
funny. That is
So,
funny. That's great. That's the kind of
I
stuff.
love
that
the kind of
loosens you up,
spirit
and that's
that the team has right
Yeah.
now, and they're not letting any losses get to them. You know, they're all in high spirits.
No, this is
so.
a young, energetic group of baseball players, group of guys out there. You know, they're in shape. They show up. They really give the fans their money's worth this year. It's good to
Yeah.
see a winning baseball club.
Very
here in
excited.
Baltimore with
Go
the Orioles.
O's.
Go O's. Well, Kristin, you know, we're in the month of October now, and
Right.
I understand today, well, as we're taping this show, we tape on Thursdays, airs on Fridays, 10, 11, 12 day.
Today it's 10,
That's pretty
11,
neat.
12 day.
That's pretty
And to
neat.
get even more dorky for you right now, if you wait for 9 seconds past the 8th minute of the 7th hour, it would be 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Think
Wow.
on that for a minute.
That's
Blows your
pretty
mind.
good. That's pretty good. It blows your
Yeah.
mind. But it's, you know, being October, we're getting near the holidays in November, December. A lot
Yes.
of people are really starting to say, me, I'm one of those guys, I like to eat. You bring
Yes.
that turkey feast down, I eat some turkey. I'll eat a good, around the holidays, you get the holiday parties. So we got to get into exercising now.
That's right.
Got to be doing that. Any tips for our folks out there? Anything that you're doing to keep yourself in shape as you go into the holidays?
Well, I love going for runs.
Yeah.
I recently got into doing the actual treadmill. I usually go outside.
Right.
But I love the treadmill now because I can put my iPod on there and blast it. I also have a Bowflex, which is great.
What is that?
The Bowflex?
The Bowflex.
Yeah, it's weights, and you do different weights for
Excellent.
lifting and stuff like
Good,
that.
good, good.
So
Bowflex.
yeah,
one of those
Bowflex.
cross-train- I know
One of
what
those,
you're talking
a cross trainer
Yeah,
piece. Yeah, exactly. And what else am I doing? Well, my dog, he keeps me pretty busy too.
He runs
So-
and you chase him.
Yeah,
he runs
that
away.
and stick and throw
Yeah.
and all that too.
Anything interesting? A lot of people are getting into new types of exercise to keep it. You know, running is great. People go out and run, and you know,
Yeah,
do
Zumba
that
has
kind of
been
stuff.
really fun.
Zumba,
I enjoy
yeah.
the Zumba, so that's been great.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
How about you?
It's always good. It's always good. Well, the family and I, even little Brandon gets into it. Have you seen the new craze of this insanity
Yes.
workout? Yeah, it's a good cardio workout.
I thought
so
about
we're,
doing those.
We're doing those.
Looks
Little
good.
Brandon can do it back and forth. It's good for the whole family.
Yeah, and I
A lot
gotta
of
say,
fun
one of
stuff.
the biggest things that you can do is just smaller portions. So portion control.
Yeah, but I like food.
I
Food
know,
likes me.
but yeah, that paleo diet's pretty hot right now.
What's that?
The paleo diet is following all things that are natural, so no processed foods, not even dairy. No, you're eating meat, nuts, veggies.
I like meat. I eat meat.
Yeah, you would love it. Some people call it the caveman diet.
Oh, that's for me.
Yeah,
Sounds
so
good.
you really limit your bread and your cheese intake. Yeah,
Yeah, well, go out there and take some walks. It's beautiful out there. Anne Arundel County has a lot of great parks. We have a lot of great trails that you should be taking advantage of.
A lot of good festivals coming up.
A lot of good festivals where you can eat a lot of good food, folks, and walk it all off.
Defeat the purpose.
That's right. Well, that's going to wrap up this week's edition of Week in Review. You can watch this episode online anytime at www.aacounty.org. Archive episodes are always available at blip.tv and on YouTube. And you can always subscribe to that free video podcast at iTunes or like us. Go ahead and do that on Facebook at Arundel TV. Please tune in again next week for more news and highlights from around your county. We'll see you next time.